Welcome back to the Friendly! We are now in round 3 of Swiss pairings, and today we will see all of the undefeated teams so far. Grif versus Flarolyn, Rhench versus Trev, and Artemis versus Gakko. 3 of these competitors will automatically qualify for the top 8 at the end of this video, and 3 will be put into 2-1 status, waiting the rest of the competition to determine how tiebreaks fall out. Let's start with Grif versus Flarolyn. Dragon Water versus Fire Fairy, a classic of the tournament having one super effective match on each side. I'm not sure how this one plays out. I would say that this match is about hyper offense versus a balanced approach. Grif's team is all about setup and sweeping, with most of his Pokemon having an option to boost their attack and or speed in some capacity, and then continue to deliver damage from there. Flarolyn's team is more balanced, with Skeledirge being a incredibly difficult wall to break through, having some setup options of her own for boosting swords dances, and also having some utility Pokemon spread throughout. With Fairy typically besting Dragon and Water typically besting Fire, it will be interesting to see which of these teams comes out on top. Let's watch. Flarolyn starts off with Iron Valiant, and Grif starts off with Milotic. Quark Drive is wasted as Flarolyn swaps out, but Tinkaton comes in and blocks a Toxic with her Steel type. Stealth Rock's gonna hurt Grif's team on switches, and Scald gonna do minimal damage to Tinkaton. Thunder Wave going to paralyze the Milotic, who full paras on the first turn, so already seeing value from that. Gigaton Hammer doesn't do a whole lot to a Milotic, and Scald similarly to Tinkaton, but it does have the added burn, which is going to basically negate the leftovers on Tinkaton. Tinkaton knocks off the leftovers on Milotic, so once again, kind of an even match there. Milotic does have some healing recovery on its own, and Tinkaton does not, so that could come into play later. Tinkaton using more Thunder Waves on the already paralyzed Milotic, not ideal, as Scald continues to chip away at Tinkaton's health. Tinkaton gonna swap into Skeledirge, and Milotic paralyzes again. Gonna just swap right back to Tinkaton, not sure what's going on there, no Regenerator in play, but no real loss either since Milotic is having some trouble with the paralysis. A critical hit Scald brings Tinkaton down to 20% or so. And another swap, this time to Victini, the first time we've seen Victini this match. Bolt Strike and Scald, each going to be super effective. And a critical hit U-turn is going to get Victini out of danger for now, but Mimikyu's disguise will be busted by the Scald. So that's the end of that ability, but Mimikyu holds up a red card, swapping Dragonite in, and Mold Breaker Tinkaton going to come back, as Grif does some swapping around despite the Stealth Rocks, taking a bit of damage here. At least Flarolyn's not taking extra damage as she does this, and Greninja comes in and takes some of that too. Tinkaton swaps. It's just a swap fest right now. Dark Pulse gonna bring Tinkaton low, but leftovers keep the burn from killing. But another Dark Pulse will kill the Tinkaton and trigger the Battle Bond for Greninja, boosting all of its attack, special attack, and speed. Iron Valiant comes in, and another swap. Surf is gonna take out the Victini. Greninja slowly losing life to the Life Orb, and does swap out, as Arcanine uses an extreme speed to kill the Milotic, and Garchomp comes in. Arcanine gonna switch away, Iron Valiant gonna eat that Earthquake instead. More Stealth Rocks damage as Grif switches to Greninja again. An Ice Punch doesn't do very much to the Water type. Mimikyu comes in on a Surf, but with its disguise already busted, that's gonna hurt it pretty badly. And Flarolyn swaps again, this time eating a Water Shuriken with Skeledirge. One of those crits taking Skeledirge dangerously low, and Greninja is faster, so Skeledirge not gonna have much impact this time. Greninja finally done as well, thanks to the chips from the Stealth Rocks and the Life Orb. Stones hurt Dragonite, but it will extremely speed the Iron Valiant down. And Arcanine comes in, and Garchomp comes in. A missed Head Smash from Arcanine, and a swap to Mimikyu is probably going to be the end of Mimikyu. Yes, it is, the Earthquake kills it. Arcanine, last Pokemon up for Flarolyn, going to Terrestrialize normal, gets rid of the weaknesses to ground, so that's wonderful. Flare Blitz, not going to do a lot. Oh, but it will burn the Garchomp. That could be significant, as Extreme Speed boosted by the normal Terrestrialization, but Rough Skin going to chip away at Arcanine down to 5%, and unfortunately this is going to mean the Extreme Speed will kill Garchomp, but the Rough Skin will kill the Arcanine back. Grif will win 6-3 and advance to the bracket stage for certain. Flarolyn will be 2 wins and 1 loss, has a decent record with at least 1 full sweep under her belt, so we will see how tiebreakers fare for her, but for now, congratulations to Grif on advancing. Let's move on to our next match. So, Rhench's team versus Trev's team. They're both water grass, so that's an interesting setup. The grass is going to have some advantages when the pure water Pokemon are out, but the secondary typings will play a pretty huge impact. Gyarados is a deadly sweeper, as we saw in Trev's last match. It went 6-0 all on its own. Trev didn't need to bring any more Pokemon besides that, but Gyarados doesn't have access to the best flying moves, and this one isn't running an ice move, so it won't have any particular advantages into grass. We will see exactly how Trev plays this, but he may need to rely on more than a single Pokemon to beat Rhench's team. Rhench's team is going to do what it reliably does. It's going to switch in and switch out, heal on Regenerator, and have some big hitters in Tangrowth and Hydrapple. The Toxic on Toxapex won't be as effective thanks to Trev having 2 poison Pokemon of his own, but it is a pretty consistent strategy for stopping sweepers, which may help if something like Shell Smash Blastoise gets out of control. Alright, I'm told that I'm not allowed to actually commentate my own matches during the Swiss, so I've reached out to the one entity that I can say is completely neutral on all of this, the bot that is running the matches. I'll step aside while the bot does the commentary.
Greetings. This unit is the bot that runs these matches. Tournament Director Rhench has asked this unit to commentate the match as the most unbiased entity possible, since this unit runs all teams in the friendly tournament. Therefore, let us begin the match, and analysis will commence. Trev begins with Exeggutor, but swaps to Venusaur. Rhench begins and immediately swaps to Toxapex. Exeggutor returns to face Toxapex, but loses its Citrus Berry to knock off. A lunge hits Blastoise, removing its white herb. Venusaur swaps in and blocks the Toxic of Toxapex. Gyarados enters the battlefield, reducing Toxapex's attack, and Lunge reduces Gyarados' attack. Dragon Dance boosts speed and attack, but immediately is reduced by Lunge. Tangrowth comes in, as Dragon Dance occurs twice more. Tangrowth Power Whips Gyarados, reducing it to low health, forcing an eating of its Ayapapa berry. Power Whip is not very effective into Venusaur. Rhench swaps to Amoonguss. Both of these poison Pokemon are also grass type, so their resistance to poison is neutral. Sludge Bomb reduces Amoonguss to 1% health, and Venusaur to 24% health. Amoonguss is swapped to Slowbro. More Sludge Bombs from Venusaur. A Giga Drain nearly kills Slowbro, but a Psychic Noise defeats the Venusaur. Rhench leads 6-5. More swapping occurs. Vaporeon wishes as Toxapex toxics the Vaporeon. Gyarados will enter the battlefield and receive Toxic as the wish heals Gyarados to 100%. Exeggutor is swapped in, and a super effective Lunge arrives from Toxapex. Psychic is super effective as well and more damaging to Toxapex, but Exeggutor flees the battle. Gyarados enters, as does Hydrapple. Toxic Poison ticks away at many of Trev's Pokemon. Hydrapple defeats Exeggutor with a Fickle Beam. Gyarados enters once again, and Rhench swaps to Tangrowth. Waterfall hits the Tangrowth for minimal damage. Victory Bell has its Life Orb removed by knockoff. Toxapex re-enters the battlefield, blocking a Toxic. Blastoise enters the battlefield and has its attack reduced by Lunge. Body Slam critically hits the Toxapex, and the Rocky Helmet harms Blastoise, as does the newly applied Toxic Poison. Lunge and Toxic Poison are also applied to Vaporeon. Vaporeon waits as Slowbro comes in, and another wish is cast. Blastoise enters the battlefield as Slowbro uses Nasty Plot, increasing its special attack. Blastoise is the recipient of Vaporeon's wish, but another swap occurs and Psychic Noise eliminates healing on Vaporeon for a short time. With no Weather Up, Weather Ball is a weak move. Slowbro defeats Vaporeon with Psychic Noise. Intimidation is not very effective onto Slowbro as it uses special attack. Psychic Noise reduces Gyarados to 4%, and Toxic Poison bleeds it to death. Trev swaps to Victory Bell. Toxapex enters on Rhench's side of the battlefield. Toxapex once more lunges, reducing the attack of Victory Bell. Trev's desperate play, hoping that Rhench swaps, is to Toxic the Toxapex, but for once, Rhench does not swap his Pokémon. Blastoise terrestrializes into the Steel type, which would have been good before the Toxic Poison, but now seems to be too little, too late. Rhench begins to swap around. His Slowbro is paralyzed and in the yellow health. Another Body Slam and a Surf. This match has ended. Blastoise has succumbed to Toxic Poison, and Trev's team has been defeated. Trev's team did not eliminate any of Rhench's Pokémon, and Rhench will be entering the top 8 bracket stage. Thank you, Tournament Director Rhench, for allowing this unit the opportunity to be in this commentary. Goodbye.
I have returned, and I would like to give thanks to the bot for providing commentary. Now that we've got that match out of the way, let's move on to the last match of the day, in which Artemis will face Gakko. Psychic Ice versus Dragon Ghost. Ghost will hit Psychic super effectively, Ice will hit Dragon super effectively. It's nice to see all of these semi-balanced matches where not one side has the clear edge from the beginning. Gakko's team has some bulk, some power, and some speed. Artemis's team, I have said, has a little bit of everything, so I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I think Ceruledge is going to be an important contributor here, with the Ghost moves and the Fire moves having an opportunity to be super effective into everything on Artemis's team. But we will see how the match goes. Starting off with Gakko's Archaludon into Artemis's Jirachi. A Draco Meteor probably would have done significantly more damage to the Latias, so that's a reasonable switch. Archaludon's special attack now reduced in half and also paralyzed, but thanks to stamina, its defense goes up. Jirachi at about a third health. Cresselia comes in. That's not going to take much damage from Body Press at all, and it will start setting up Calm Minds, boosting its special attack and defense as Archaludon is fully paralyzed. More Calm Minds. That's not going to impact how much Body Press does, but Gakko thinks better of continuing at that strategy because Moonlight will heal Cresselia. Bitter Blade takes about a third of Cresselia's health, and Stored Power takes 2/3 of Ceruledge's, but Hydreigon is immune to a Psychic move being Dark type. Dark Pulse is going to hurt Cresselia, but it will go back up to 77%. Another Dark Pulse brings it down, another Moonlight adds about 10% total, so Cresselia, slowly healing from this interaction, actually decides to Moonblast the Hydreigon, super effective, takes it down. Bitter Blade is going to bring Cresselia low, but Stored Power finishing off the Ceruledge, Artemis up 6-4 so far. Cresselia heals up again. Archaludon proved it couldn't do a whole lot to Cresselia before. Moonblast takes down its special attack as Archaludon boosts its defense. That will help Body Press, but Gakko swaps out anyway. Moonblast easily resisted by Gengar, but drops its special attack. Gakko gonna swap to clean that off. Moonblast hits the Dragonite super effectively. Stored Power brings it down to the red. Dual Wing Beat isn't gonna be enough to kill that Cresselia, but he does force Artemis to switch finally, and he switches back to Archaludon, does Gakko. Ice Beam gonna finish off Archaludon. Artemis has taken out 3 without losing any so far, and Gakko, in a bit of a bind, swapping around trying to find the answer, down now to his last 2 Pokemon, switching once again. Hex gonna be super effective and kill the Gengar. Hex is disabled, so that's not an option into Garchomp, but I'm sure Frostlass has some ice moves. A critical hit doesn't matter as the Sash keeps Frostlass alive anyway. She gets off at least 1 Ice Beam before going down. Garchomp has terrestrialized ground but is down to a little under half health. Ice Shard, a priority move, gonna make sure it gets some damage in on Garchomp before Weavile dies. And only 1 hit needs to land before Garchomp goes down, but Garchomp will kill the Jirachi. Is the Gardevoir fast enough to beat the Garchomp? Not sure, because Artemis is gonna swap. Fortunately, Garchomp uses Earthquake, Latias immune to that, Dragon Claw not quite enough to kill, and Psyshock is enough to finish the Garchomp. Artemis will win 6-3 and advance to the bracket stage. Gakko goes 2-1 and will join Trev and Flarolyn in the pool to determine how tiebreakers shake out. So congratulations to our winners who have qualified for the bracket stage, Grif, Rhench, and Artemis. See you in the next video for the friendly Swiss Round 3.